Hello, you are listening to A Woman's Guide, episode 18. Do you pick on yourself? Where did you get that habit from? What good does it do for you? How is it harmful? And what can be done about it? Today's episode is How to Overcome Self-Criticism. Stay tuned. This is A Woman's Guide to Reclaiming Wholeness After Sexual Abuse. For all of you listening, welcome to the show. I am Simone, your confidant and guide. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so self-criticism. This is something I really wanted to dig into deeply. Okay, because I think a lot of us have this problem. A lot of us have this problem, and I know it's something that we experience personally in our own minds. Many of the times it's not something that anyone can hear. It's not that anyone can misinterpret, but I believe that this is something that a lot of us do. We do this a lot. And I believe that it's one of the most damaging things we can do to ourselves, emotionally and mentally. Okay? And with self-criticisms, I'm speaking about here is the ones where I'm going to get to that definition, but I'm not really necessarily speaking about self-criticism or criticism in a way where it's healthy, where maybe you are doing a job or you're doing a project or you're working on something and you're taking a real clear objective look at something you're doing and saying, well, this is what I can improve on, and this is what I am good at, and this is what I can bring up, and this is what I can bring down, where it's a healthy criticism. I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking about unhealthy criticisms here. Okay? It is unhealthy criticisms. This is really what I'm focusing on. Self-criticism. We're criticizing ourselves. And many of the times it is something that is so ingrained and so normal to us that we don't even notice that we are doing it. But just because we are not aware does not mean that it's not affecting us in some way. It's affecting us, and it's affecting our lives negatively. This is something that I believe is probably, the biggest form of abuse that we can do within ourselves, but it's covert and it's invisible to other people, and it's a sabotage. We have to say that it's a sabotage. You are sabotaging yourself when you criticize yourself. And I'm going to get to the definition. I'm going to break it down and tell you exactly what I mean by criticizing yourself. Okay? This is on the highest level. This is the inner abuse and inner sabotage that we do to our own self. We do this to our own self. We pick on ourselves. That's really what it is, Self-criticism in the way that I'm speaking about is picking on yourself. You pick on yourself until you pick yourself apart. That's really what it is. And with criticisms, and I know this, and I spoke about this, all these other things, it's an expression of shame. It's an expression of guilt. It's an expression of feelings of inferiority, inadequacy, insecurity, self-hate. These are all expressions of these emotions that we carry, these deep emotions that we carry. And obviously, I've spoken about this. I've spoken on this on some level in my other videos about shame and rage and things like that. Okay? But it's an expression of these emotions that we have about ourselves. The shame, the guilt, the inferiority, the worthlessness, the inadequacy, the self-hate. It's coming from that. It's coming from those emotions. Okay? Criticisms in this context. Okay, this is how I'm going to define criticisms to you, and the different ways we can criticize and the different kinds of criticisms that we can give ourselves. So criticisms in this context is to express disapproval to yourself. You're expressing disapproval to yourself through fault finding, which means that you're focusing on perceived or true negatives about yourself. And some of it can be true negatives about yourself, but I'm mainly focusing on stuff that is negative and untrue. Placing blame, judgments, that's another one, which means that we label ourselves in conclusion, and most likely it's negative. It's a negative thing. It's a negative thing, and they are untrue. And it's disrespectful, degrading names that we use, negative words we use about ourselves. Do you understand? So we can criticize ourselves in these ways: fault finding, placing blame, judgments. Now, when you judge, and this is what a lot of people choose to make judgments and criticisms synonymous with each other, but I believe that you can use a judgment to be criticized, to criticize other people. Okay? You can use judgments to criticize other people. Okay? But I guess it can be, one of the same. But I would say the judgments you use judgments in order to criticize yourself. So that means, what judge means, to judge yourself, in my own words, is to make an absolute conclusion about yourself. Okay? Which is a conclusion that is untrue and negative. That's what I mean. But a judgment can be true, too. But most of the time when you're speaking about a judgment, it's a judgment. It's an assessment. It's something that you're sitting there and you're making an absolute conclusion about. And I don't think in life, with anybody or anything, we can make an absolute judge, like a conclusion about something, because there's so much that we don't know. However, we could just gonna finalize or conclude something, and we don't know, we don't have all the information. And it's based through our perception, and it's based on our experiences, it's based on our preferences. That's where we come up with this conclusion. So it's really subjective. I think a judgment really is subjective. It depends on the individual. But anyway, when you're judging yourself, you're making an absolute conclusion about yourself, which can be untrue and negative. So this is what you need to remember when you are making criticisms to yourself. You need to remember that whatever you're saying to yourself, okay, whatever you're saying to yourself is going to affect you, whether it's positively or negatively. Your lips are close to your ear. They're very close to your ear. So whatever you're saying that's coming out of your lips, they're going right into your ear. And then you already have this belief, and you already have this idea, and then it's coming out of your lips and going right in back in your ear, and going through your ear and coming out of your lips and going back in your ear. So it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle. You need to know that your feelings are connected to your thoughts, and your words are connected to your feelings and your thoughts. These are all connected. Everything is connected. It's not disconnected. Everything that you're going to come out with in your, out of your mouth, it is connected to something that's happening inside of you, okay? It's not disconnected. You're not going to say things you don't believe or you don't think. Anyway, so I'm going to give you a few examples. Like, if you are expressing disapproval toward yourself, which is a criticism, it will cause you to feel a certain way afterwards, okay? So just listen to these examples when I say this. Because this is stuff I used to say to myself. This is stuff, I swear to you, none of this stuff I have not said to myself. I said every single one of these things to myself. Well, maybe except for one of these examples. One of these examples are random. But I am such a loser. If you say this to yourself, I am such a loser. Listen to the words that I'm saying, because I'm pretty sure if you say this, you're watching this, or you're listening to this, you're saying this to yourself. I am such a loser. I suck. I am stupid, ugly, worthless. These are all judgments, guys. These are all judgments. Judgments. You're making a conclusion about yourself, an absolute conclusion. You're concluding that you're a loser. You're concluding that you suck. You're concluding that you're stupid, ugly, and worthless. These are all judgments. And I have more. I can never do anything right. Have you ever said that to yourself? I can never do anything right. My ears are too big. My lips are too big. My lips are too small. Whatever. I'm so sensitive. I'm too light, too dark, too fat, too thin, too small, whatever. These are all fault-finding criticisms. These are things that we're finding faults about within ourselves. Fault-finding criticisms. That is something that I'm really guilty of doing, is fault-finding criticisms. Oh my gosh. That's all I used to do, is find fault within myself. This is another thing. You can say, it's all my fault. I'm the reason so-and-so is not happy. I'm the reason so-and-so is angry. I'm the reason so-and-so can't get their life together. I'm the reason so-and-so, is so mean. These are all placing blame, guilt complexes that we may have created or developed through the things that we've gone through. Do you understand what I'm saying? So with these examples, after listening to me say these things, and just picture yourself saying this to yourself, or let me just listen, if you just remember what I said and how I said it, how do you think you're going to feel after you say these things to yourself? And I know we don't sit there and really think about that, but how do you really feel? How do you think you're going to feel after you say things like this to yourself? It can't be anything good. Remember, your thoughts are attached to your feelings. And your words are attached to your feelings and thoughts. So if you're going to be saying this, what does that tell me about how you feel about yourself, or how you feel? And when you say these words, what more of something are you going to be feeling? You're going to be feeling more ashamed, right? Because I'm hearing shame in all of these things. I'm hearing shame. I'm hearing feeling inferior. I'm hearing feeling wrong, not enough, guilty. You feel awful about yourself again. That's what you are creating more of when you speak these words. You're creating more of it, because you must already believe it for you to say it. There is an origination to these words. There's a beginning to these words. There's a thought that creates these words. So you will end up feeling more of what it is that you are expressing. More ashamed, inferior, wrong, not enough, which is inferior. Guilty, awful about yourself. Again, that's what you're doing. That means you're having a further damaging impact on yourself, your self-worth, your self-esteem. Now, where the heck did you get it from? Well, most often than not, these words or criticisms or judgments came from somewhere. It came from somewhere. Somewhere. Okay? Someone projected these thoughts onto you, or these ideas or beliefs. Somebody projected this onto you, these thoughts and beliefs about you. Or you could have received this unconsciously, and of course, it could be covertly. It's not what someone necessarily said to you. It could have been what was not said. Okay, so it could have been covert. It's a covert thing. It was something that could have been insinuated. Or it could be something that, of course, like I was saying before in my other audio episodes, that it is something that someone demonstrated toward you, is something that you came up with in your mind. You made a conclusion, and you made a judgment within yourself based off of what someone did that created these feelings of shame and guilt and inferiority and worthlessness within yourself. It's what someone did. So either someone said it to you overtly or covertly. It's what wasn't said, or what was insinuated or indicated, but it wasn't totally said. It wasn't said. It was just something there was like an open air or space, but it was insinuated and was indicated. It's a covert emotional abuse. Let's put it that way. So you receive these messages unconsciously or consciously through your traumatic experiences of what was said or what was not said. And if you were told these things over and over and over again, especially if you were told these things over and over again, if somebody said this stuff to you, especially repeatedly, whether it's the same person or it's other people, many other people, you were told this stuff repeatedly. And it's going to create a pattern of thought within your mind, of course, and a belief about yourself. And of course, that's something inevitable, because I know that these beliefs came from when we were children. It came from our childhood. It came when we were impressionable and we're innocent and we couldn't help it. That's just how it is when you're a child. You're going to be impressionable. You're a sponge. And it serves a purpose that way, because you need to learn very quickly when you're a child. So you're very vulnerable and susceptible to all different kinds of information. That's inevitable. So then it became a belief, and when you're at such an impressionable age, you know what I mean, and you're absorbing all this information, it's going to become ingrained as a belief within yourself. I also want to say that that sometimes, okay, as children, we learned this stuff. Somebody said this to us. But what our brain does as a defense mechanism, or I would say an ego, because the ego likes to control things, like I said, it is common for us to attack ourselves with the same stuff that we were attacked with. Okay? Because it feels safer to attack ourselves than having the unpredictability of someone else coming to us and hurting us, and we have no control. So it's an ego thing, right? And also, there's a variance to this. We attack ourselves first because we believe that it will make us better. We believe that it will make us more, or make us prettier, or it will make us smarter. We believe in our minds that if we attack ourselves, that it's going to make us ourselves better. So that way we won't experience the pain of someone else coming to us and attacking us with those same words. So it's kind of strange. It's really kind of strange. And I noticed that with myself. I did that with myself a lot. I would attack myself and call myself stupid before anyone else would call me stupid. Somehow it would, I don't know, and it really doesn't make sense now, but, you know, your mind does, it copes, you know what I mean? It does, it has a certain mechanism, a defense mechanism, and it wants to put itself more in control, you know? You don't want to feel like a victim. So I would say, you're so stupid, Simone. And then, but it was like almost an attempt at me trying to make myself better or not stupid, so that other people would not be calling me stupid. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's a variance. We attack ourselves because it feels safer to attack ourselves than to experience the unpredictability of somebody else attacking us. But also we attack ourselves with the intention, the subconscious intention to better ourselves or make ourselves more or better, or, just to make ourselves more than we think we are, so that we can avoid those criticisms from other people that were so painful to us. Yeah. It's a complex thing. I'm telling you, the brain is very complex. It's fascinating, though. It's fascinating stuff. Okay? And like I said before, that there are other times where we came to a judgment about ourselves because of how we were treated. Because we were abused in some manner, in some fashion, we consciously thought, and we knew consciously that it was wrong. We knew consciously that it was wrong, and it felt wrong. So our brain came up with this idea that I'm wrong as well. And that's where this criticism stuff came from. So we had this belief that we're wrong, so then we start to come up with these criticisms to affirm what it is, how much we believe that we are wrong. So it's all just about patterns and beliefs and what we've heard and what we learned through what was demonstrated, what was said, what was not said, what was done to us. That's it. And in turn, we attack ourselves because we feel like it's safer to do so, or we think that we're improving ourselves by attacking ourselves in this way. Okay, so anyway, the reason why this is so damaging and harmful and sabotaging to us, and this is really what I think is the most important part, is that the reason why it's so sabotaging and damaging to ourselves is that it makes us our own worst enemy. When you're speaking about sabotage, when you're doing something to deliberately obstruct or hinder some kind of progress or something that you're doing, okay, within yourself, this is the context of within yourself. It's not, speaking militarily or politically. It's speaking about within ourselves, where we're doing something to obstruct or hinder or stop something. You're sabotaging yourself because you're making yourself your own worst enemy. You're demonstrating that toward yourself, and you're making yourself your own worst enemy when you do this. It makes you your own worst enemy. And it took me a very long time for it to click that way. I'm making myself my own enemy. I am sabotaging myself. That means I am stopping myself. My happiness, my life, my joy, my peace, my relationships, becoming the best I can be, because I am killing myself out with these words. I'm killing myself with these words. It makes yourself your own worst enemy, simply put. And it's very sad because unbeknownst to us, we are repeating the cycle of abuse within ourselves, done by another, done by other people. We're creating that sabotaging cycle, or we're creating a sabotaging cycle, okay, of emotional abuse within ourselves. That's why it's so sad. That's why it's so sad. That's why it's so damaging, because you're making yourself your own worst enemy. I'm telling you, we are really supposed to be like our own best friend. That's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be our own best friend. We're supposed to be our own safe place of unconditional love, peace, and comfort. We should be. Because we're the only ones that we've got. We're the only ones that we've got. We really are, You can only really rely on yourself. You can only really help yourself. You can only really be good to yourself. You're the only one you can rely on to do that for yourself. And if you are going to be your own worst enemy by sabotaging and abusing yourself with self-criticism, then when you do that, you don't stand a chance. You don't stand a chance with yourself. You don't stand a chance with life, with your healing, with your recovery. As long as you keep doing that to yourself, you're not going to stand a chance. You are sabotaging yourself. You're sabotaging your recovery and your self-improvement, your self-love. That's what you're sabotaging. You don't stand a chance. Because as within, so without. So however you are speaking to yourself within is how you're going to be projecting yourself outwardly, and how you're going to behave outwardly, and what you're going to do outwardly. So it all starts in your mind. This is why I'm so focused on personal development and fixing the self, or healing the self, and getting a better idea about what's going on. You have to go into your mind. You have to heal what's going on in your mind. Change those patterns and change those habits and change those beliefs, because it's all in your mind. It's in how you're thinking and speaking and talking to yourself and behaving toward yourself. Because you're the only one that can stop you from healing. That's it. If you allow yourself to heal, if you help the process, if you do everything you need to do to heal, then you will get to any level that you want to get to. You will do anything you want to do. You'll accomplish anything you want to accomplish. So that's what we're trying to do here, okay? Now, I wanted to speak about a few ways that we can criticize ourselves. And this is very important. I wanted to put this in here because I think it's very important. We should know this, okay? So we can manifest criticizing ourselves in a few ways, which is number one, the first one is to berate, which is to criticize angrily in a hostile manner or scold or yell. We know about this stuff. When you're like, I hate myself, you're scolding, you're berating yourself. I'm such an idiot, That's berating, right? We know about that. Now the next part is to do it in a cool, calm manner. Okay, you're doing it in a cool, calm manner, or just a relaxed manner where you're just like, I'm an idiot. You know me, I'm just an idiot, I figured that I would do that to myself because I'm so lazy or whatever. You know what I mean? You're doing it in a cool, calm manner. But our words, it's just as damaging as scolding or berating because our words hurt. It's about our words and what we're using to describe ourselves or to what we're saying to ourselves. It is hurtful. You're going to hurt yourself. And you could even do this, and this is an important point. This is what I wanted to definitely speak about. I don't think it's very popular when people speak about self-criticism, is that you can even do it in a joking manner. A joking manner where, okay, you're saying, oh, you know me, I'm just an idiot. I'm such an idiot. I'm such a fat pig. Oh, you know me, I'm just a lazy bum. You're saying this to yourself, or you're saying this, you're making fun of yourself in front of other people. Okay? And mind you, while it is okay to make fun of our humanistic self and our humanistic side, just making fun of ourselves humanistically, because we're just human and we do silly and funny things, but or it's okay to make light of our mistakes or idiosyncrasies or our characteristics, and it's funny. But you see, when you really pick on yourself, and you're picking on yourself frequently, just having a good laugh about it with family and friends, where you're saying those things that I was saying, oh, I'm such an idiot, ha ha ha, or I'm just, me, I'm just a lazy bum, or me, I'm just no good, I'm an idiot, you know what I mean? You can further erode your self-esteem by making these comments. Okay, and I notice this, and the reason why I'm saying this is because there's a lot of things that a lot of people that have made fun of me, and it was just all in fun, quote unquote fun, all in jest, okay? But it was painful. And while other people were laughing, and they thought it was funny, and sometimes I laughed along with it just to cover up the pain, at the end of the day, it was still damaging. Just based off, even though they were doing it in a way where it was joking and humorous, it was still very painful. So we cannot rule out the fact that we can criticize ourselves with jokes, because sometimes we do that. We like to make light of something that really is painful or is a wound, but we do it as a joke. And also, like, back to what I said about attacking ourselves first. Sometimes we like to attack ourselves first by making ourselves a joke, or make ourselves a laughing stock, in order to soften up that pain or soften up that wound, or to get ourselves back, or get ourselves before someone else gets us. So we can do that in a very humorous way, but it's still very damaging. I think it's a coping mechanism as well. It's very damaging to do that. When you're picking on yourself, you're picking on your wounds, you're picking on your pain, and you're doing it in jest, and you're doing it in jokes, okay? And I believe that making jokes about yourself in this manner does tell of a personal, quote-unquote, truth. And I'm not saying that what you're saying is true about yourself. I'm not saying that it's the truth. I'm saying it's something that you believe about yourself. It's something you believe about, or you believe the truth about yourself, okay? And thus you reinforce those beliefs by making those jokes. So that's something that I wanted to add. I absolutely wanted to add that. Be careful about the words that you're saying. Be careful about the things that you're hearing yourself say. Whether you're doing it in these different ways, berating or speaking to yourself in a calm, cool manner, or joking, because it all has the same effects. It's the words that you're using. It's the words you are using. And you're going to reinforce those beliefs as you continue to express those ideas and beliefs and hear yourself say it, and that's just going to perpetuate the cycle, okay? So that's what I wanted to say about that. Now, and I'm pretty sure you want to know, what can you do to stop all these criticisms toward yourself? What can you do? Well, you got to firstly ask yourself where you've heard these criticisms spoken to you. If this is something you've heard, or even if sometimes you don't even know that you heard it, but you have to sit there and figure out if you've heard this before. Where did I hear this thing first? Where did I hear this thing first? Okay, because most likely you heard this before. You heard this before from others. Okay, and if you heard it from others, how many times did you hear it? And also, this is the most important question, if they are true. Are they true? Are they true? Because I'm saying that, it's not to say that some criticisms are not true, because some are true. They do tell the truth about yourself. They do tell the truth or the issue or the weakness that you have about yourself. Okay, so some things are true, but, you know, most of self-criticisms are of lies and misinformation and ignorance, and they're done maliciously or unconsciously. So you have to do some digging. You have to do some digging. You have to do some reflection and some contemplation to see if these statements are true. You got to make sure that you know what you're saying about yourself. Is it true or is it not true? Who did you hear it from? Are they lies? Are they misinformation? Now, if you determine that they are lies, the next step is to reverse them, of course. Now, some criticisms are true, like I just said, and they were expressed to let us know about some kind of flaw or weakness that we have. Usually later on in life we hear these criticisms, right? And it's some kind of, flaw or weakness that we have, some character trait that we need to improve upon, okay? Now, when it's true, you got to take the lesson they bring. Take the lesson that they bring and apply it. So that means improve the weakness or the liability. But the point is, what I'm trying to say to you, and this is what I want you to know, is do not keep punishing yourself with it. Because I know our tendency is to punish ourselves with something, especially if it's true. Even if it's negative, we still punish ourselves. But when we notice that it's true, our tendency is to continue to punish ourselves and to berate ourselves and to dwell on it. Like, for example, I had a criticism that was told about me, and it was true. It was true. It was something where people were saying that I sound very rude. I heard that a lot, that I was very rude, that I was rude and I was mean. Rude and mean. True. Absolutely true. And once I got to the point where I realized that I was rude, I said, okay, I'm going to have to improve upon this. I'm going to have to improve upon this. I said, okay, I have some more healing work to do. I have healing work to do. I have to change this. And so I worked on it. I worked on speaking nicer, and I worked on my anger, because that was really the root of me sounding rude. I had to work on my anger. I had to work on the way that I would word certain things, the tone, the inflection of my voice. I had to work on that stuff. And I mean, of course, even when I listen to myself, when I'm editing these audios, these episodes, okay, I listen to myself and I say, wow, like, I have such a strong way of speaking, and it can really sound hostile. It really can sound hostile or even rude, but it's not something, well, the way that I am now, it's not something that I'm intentionally doing. It's just the way I speak. I have a very strong way of speaking, my ideas, or putting my ideas across, or speaking my truth, okay? So I did learn, even all these years later, I said, wow, I really do have that strong way of expressing myself. And I can imagine how it was back then before I've done a majority of the healing. I've done a lot of healing where I really was angry. I was very, very angry. So I could see and I understand that people would say that, said I was rude, and they said that I was mean. And even still back then I did believe it, and that's why I continued to work on myself and work on what it is that I needed to improve about myself. Okay, so that's just to say that some things are, they do speak a truth about you. It's something that you need to pay attention to. So I did work on my rudeness. I did work on my rudeness. I did work on my rudeness. Okay, so now first, lies, absolute lies and distortions and things that we heard that were not true about ourselves. Okay, you have to use positive affirmations to reverse these negatives because it's a belief, right? I'm sorry, I'm going to sound really like a broken record with these positive affirmations. But these are the things that work. This is just what works. So you use positive, and it works with me. It worked with me. It worked with me, okay? So you use positive affirmations to reverse these negative words, labels, internalized beliefs, okay? So you have to use positive affirmations because that's the only way you're going to get it out. I'm telling you right now, with healing and with reversing things that you know you need to reverse or heal or fix, quote unquote fix within yourself, you got to put effort into it. It's not something that's going to heal on its own. That belief has been basically for years and years and years, and it's been circulating and, you know, perpetuating, and it's been sitting there and just getting stronger and stronger as you go along, and as you continue to say these criticisms to yourself and allowing and having other people come to you and say the same thing to yourself, it's just growing bigger and stronger and deeper and having a bigger impact on you. So what I'm saying is, you cannot sit there and think that it's just going to go away. It's not going to go away. You have to do something to reverse it. That's why I keep talking about positive affirmations. I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but that's the only way you can do it, because you have to internalize a new belief now. That's what you're using. You're using positive affirmations as a tool to internalize another belief, to put in another belief, so that you can replace it with something positive. You can expand the good. You create a new belief and thought and ideas about yourself. You have to do that. So, for example, instead of saying, I'm a failure, I'm a loser. I'm a failure, I'm a loser. Pretty sure a lot of us say that, right? Instead say, I'm successful, or I was born to win, or I'm a winner, or I'm a conqueror, I'm a champion, whatever it is you want to say. The point is that you have to replace it with something true about you. And I'm telling you, you will notice. I mean, it may be a little bit funny at first. It may feel a little bit weird and downright uncomfortable when you start doing these positive affirmations. It might feel really uncomfortable to you because you've grown so accustomed to saying negative things to you. You've become so accustomed to saying negative things about you that you don't know anything else. So then when you start saying things that are actually true about you or things that are nice about you, it might feel downright uncomfortable, painful even. Okay, because we're so used to hearing these negative things about us that when we hear something that contradicts that, we freeze up, we get uncomfortable, we feel painful. It feels painful to us. But anyway, you got to say these things to yourself. So at first it's going to be uncomfortable, but after, you're going to feel that lightness and you're going to feel better about it. And you can feel something. You feel this really good, fluttery feeling when you say that, because that's your spirit telling you that you're telling the truth. That's the truth. You're going to feel good when you tell the truth. You feel lighter. You won't feel as heavy and upset and all those other negative feelings that you feel when you say negative things to yourself. You're going to feel good because you're going to say things that are positive about you and true about you. When you speak the truth, you're going to feel good. Okay? And you know what? Like I said, it doesn't matter if you believe it at first, or I didn't say that, but it does not matter if you don't believe it. It does not matter if you don't believe it. Because, like I said, your beliefs are something negative or something that's untrue, it's false about you. So it does not matter if you believe it. But you got to keep at it, and eventually that belief will become a belief in the same manner that you internalize the belief that was developed from something untrue and damaging. So you just got to work at that. So you replace every single thing that you heard that was damaging and untrue and unhealthy and unproductive. You got to replace it with something that's true, positive, and uplifting. And that takes patience. So you got to do that a lot. It may take you years for you to see or to develop that belief within yourself. It may take you years. Okay, because I was still struggling with certain things, I'm still, I have moments where I get triggered. I have moments where I start to feel more of something negative than I used to feel before, or that I would now currently feel. I feel more negative at certain times, or I would sometimes still feel stupid or ugly or worthless or inferior. Like those old feelings come back up. Those old feelings come back up now and then. So you got to be patient with yourself. There's layers, There's layers that you have to peel off, and it takes time and it takes patience. So don't be surprised if, it's going to be a year later and you're still struggling with this. I mean, it takes a while, because it took a while for you to develop those beliefs. So it's going to take a while for it to reverse. You got to be patient with yourself. Okay? But it's worth it. I'm telling you, it's worth it. The freedom that you feel from all of these negative things, it's worth it. The next point is, and you can use this along with positive affirmations, is you must forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself. You forgive yourself. Not forgive yourself for the things that you believe is true about you, but I'm saying you forgive yourself for believing that you're anything less than perfect. You must do that. That way you can clean the slate and you could start fresh. I would say you use the forgiveness before you use the positive affirmations about what you want to change. So you forgive yourself first for believing that you are anything less than perfect. Forgive yourself first, because you've been spending years and years and years thinking that you were stupid or ugly or worthless, or you're feeling you're dirty, feeling that you were tainted, or feeling that other people are better than you, that you're not enough. You've spent years, okay, feeling this about yourself. So you forgive yourself for thinking that you're anything less than perfect, for believing that you're anything less than perfect and wonderful. Forgive yourself for believing the lies about yourself. Forgive yourself. You got to do that. It's not about wrongness and being wrong, and it's not about placing blame and faults. It's just about forgiving yourself, which means that you're clearing yourself out. You're clearing yourself out. You're cleaning the slate so you can begin anew. So you have to start with yourself. Forgive yourself for believing this thing about you. These things about you. Forgive yourself for treating yourself badly and saying bad things about yourself. Okay? But I believe this really comes at a point where you know that, okay, this stuff is lies. This is lies. This is stuff that is not true about me. So in the beginning, what I was saying about, in the first part of what I was saying about how to stop criticisms, stop doing these criticizing things to ourselves, is that you have to figure out if it's a lie, or it's a distortion, or it's something that's true, or something that's false, and who said this, and how many times was it said to you. So after you determine that it's a lie, and it clicks in for you, that, okay, this is a lie, and this has been a lie, this is what I've been telling myself, most likely you'll have a release. You will have a release, okay? And then you will then be in a place to forgive yourself, because you realize that what you've been doing to yourself You know what I mean? And it's not your fault. It's not something that you did to yourself to torture or punish yourself. You only did what you were taught, and you only did what you were demonstrated towards, or what was demonstrated towards you. You only did what you knew how to do, and that was just to survive. So you did whatever you could to survive and assimilate with other things and other people and other people's ideas and beliefs. That's all you could do. So it's not about fault finding. But once you get to that release and understanding that it's not true, then you forgive yourself and say, wow, I can't believe I treated myself that way. I can't believe I thought of myself that way. What you begin to experience is really healing, right? And you have compassion for yourself, but then you still forgive yourself. And forgiveness really is compassion too. You forgive yourself for believing that you were anything less than perfect. So it's like you are letting yourself know that, okay, I can let go of this belief now. Okay, I can understand that what I thought about myself wasn't true. I'm giving myself permission to change. Let's put it that way. That's what forgiveness is you're giving yourself permission to change from that thought that you're having. In this context, you're giving yourself permission to change. You're giving yourself permission to give yourself a new thought. You're giving yourself your permission, you're forgiving yourself, okay? And you're giving yourself permission to feel something different. And you're giving yourself permission to think in a different way. Okay, so that's really what forgiveness is in this context. And I really wanted to break it down for you because I know some people, and I've talked to other people about forgiveness, and they said, well, why would I want to forgive myself? It's they're the ones, someone else is the one that I'm feeling this way, and they're the wrong. They're in the wrong, and they're the perpetrator, and they're the abuser. So why the heck do I need to forgive myself? So this is really an explanation. If you don't really understand what I mean about forgiveness, it really is just giving yourself permission to change and to have a new thought and to wipe the slate clean. Giving yourself permission. That's really what it is. So you forgive yourself for believing the lies about yourself and you're punishing yourself with it. You forgive yourself for the guilt, for the shame, for the feelings of inferiority and other disempowering emotions that would have caused you to feel, that would have caused you to say these things about yourself. So I mean, I had other videos about shame and rage and things like that. So I mean, you can look up on those videos too if you haven't already. But yeah, it's really about those emotions. It's really about those emotions. So you forgive yourself of all those, emotions that are causing this self-criticism to come to the surface. Okay? So I think that's about it for that. Okay? So if you are someone to criticize yourself, I understand why you do that, because it may be a habit. Most likely it is a habit. It's a deeply ingrained habit. And we learned from others. We learned it from other people, covertly, overtly, what was done to us, what we didn't hear, what we didn't get. Okay? But you're not doing yourself any favors by doing that. You're not doing yourself any favors if you're doing it because you believe it's going to make you better and improve or become more. It is counterproductive, and it thwarts your healing process and development as a person. So just learn and be patient enough to kick the habit of criticizing yourself needlessly, okay? Just learn to kick the habit with these, you can take whatever it is you want to take from this. Maybe you can put some things into perspective, but I would advise you to just kick the habit if you are continuing to criticize yourself. That's it for our discussion today. Thank you for listening to A Woman's Guide to Reclaiming Wholeness After Sexual Abuse. If you like what you heard, please rate and review on iTunes. Next week, we will explore how to overcome fear, projecting onto others. So be sure to tune in. You don't want to miss that. Until next time, take care.